everyone and welcome. Today I'll be painting a mountain landscape. As you can already tell, I'm beginning the process by adding water to various wells in my palette that I think I'll be using. I only ended up using about 6 colors though, so quite a few of these were unnecessary. Then I mixed my paint and set up my ceramic palette that I like to use for larger projects such as this one. The goal for my first layer of paint was to establish the cool and warm areas in this piece. The areas where the sun is shining on will glow yellow and orange, and the shadows are going to appear blue. Now that I have my underpainting finished, you can see that I'm covering all of that up with more pigment. I used the underpainting to sketch out some of the larger shadows and highlights as guidelines. I don't always like to use pencil because it can sometimes show through, and I wasn't feeling like I needed to be too technical and match my reference photo perfectly. Now here, this is the beginning of me painting the finer details. I wanted to make sure how even the shadows have lighter and darker areas themselves. By the end of this piece, the shadows are all nearly black, but because of my layering process, it appears textured and rock-like rather than flat. You might already be able to tell that I'm painting over the same areas repeatedly, and that's because I was very indecisive about how dark and saturated I wanted to make my colors. I was too scared to add dark and saturated colors because once you put color on a watercolor painting, it's not coming off. When I began to add darker values to my painting, especially in the beginning, my lighter values appeared way too light, hence why I kept having to go back and forth. So the mountain in the background is almost completely in the shade, which means that entire portion of the painting will essentially be a monochrome blue with a hint of orange on top. My initial plan was to paint this section in about 3 layers, but like the first half of this piece, things did not work out the same way as I had planned, and that's okay, it just takes a lot longer. A surprise visit from my cat Biscotto, who thinks she's being very helpful. When I paint pieces like this one, I have a little rule that if my painting needs something, I just add dots in places because dots can be anything. right after I finished this piece, I told myself that if I were to paint this again, I would do it differently, and that's because I couldn't stick to the color of each layer. If I had painted the mountain in the foreground a saturated orange color in the beginning, I believe this painting wouldn't have taken nearly as long to create and may even be better. Here's the final piece. If you have made it this far, I hope you enjoyed watching me paint. I always find it really helpful to watch artists paint. There's always something new for me to learn from. If you did enjoy watching this video, you can give me a little thumbs up, write a lovely comment, or maybe even subscribe. I would love to hear feedback about how to make my videos better, as well as potential topics to discuss in the future. Thanks for watching, think positive, and make it a great day.